Have you ever felt like you were stuck in a rut? Like you were going through the motions of life without any real change in the patterns, no matter how much you learned? Do you keep finding the answers that you seek, epiphany after epiphany, but years later, nothing actually changes? Nothing actually moves forward. Maybe you feel like there's no way out, or maybe the idea of changing your life just seems impossible because you have gone back and forth from completely ignorant to your negative self talk and believing that you finally actually figured it all out. Back and forth, cycle repeating itself. Know that it's possible to make change and break out of unconscious patterns. But to do this, we have to become conscious of those patterns. So just know you don't have to go through life feeling stuck in a rut forever. Here are some tips to help you take control of your patterns. Because it can be all too easy to fall into the trap of limiting beliefs and patterns that hold you back from reaching your true potential. I have been where you are so many times. I know it's frustrating to repeat the cycle over and over again, believing that you're never going to have lasting change. Then you found the solution, but then nothing's changed over and over again. Like you, I've also been to seminars, joined communities, and different faiths just to find my joy and my empowerment, to be seen and heard. Because after every heartbreak in my life, personal or professional, I've always been willing to look at myself in the mirror and start asking the questions to that man in the mirror. Questions like, what did you do wrong? And how can you fix that about yourself, Anthony? How do I let go of this pain and move forward as the loving man that I know I am? And am I willing to take 100% responsibility in my healing and let everyone off the hook? Now, regardless of how this looked to anyone else around me as they observed me, that's what I did. I did that work, especially in my sacred relationships, the ones with the great loves of my life. And as I went seeking, I always found acceptance. I was eventually seen and heard, learning different tools in different groups since I was very young, even when I was leading in youth ministry. And as I migrated from different communities every 3 to 6 years for different solutions, adopted their language, their dogma, and then agreed to their vision of what I am supposed to be and do, the cycle eventually would repeat itself, no matter what. Yes, I did make huge changes in the process, and there were still patterns that were repeating. So I'm addressing the number one reason that I believe this happens. It's the story that I'm still a part of, that's still a part of my narrative, my memories and attachments to the judgment of those memories and beliefs. All of those I am statements that I was unconscious of, even as I was seeking consciousness. But it's time to break free from those limitations and start living the life you and I were meant to live. Here's how I do it. And I know you can do it too. This is what I've been teaching. Now, there will be follow-ups after this, going deeper into the framework that I will mention briefly today. Because first, we have to develop an awareness and the belief that you have the power to change your story. First, we have to recognize and then release those limiting beliefs. And remember, most people don't even realize they have limiting beliefs. And if they do, usually they think that just by declaring them and letting them go one time, that's all it takes. But limiting beliefs are literally anything, absolutely anything that you put a label on and hold a hard assumption that you're right and that you know all there is to know about that label. Basically divorcing yourself completely from your work to seek harmony. Your limiting beliefs can and also do change as you do your work. There's always a new, eventual old story. because you still need to look at these newer assumptions as you're progressing, as you're ascending, and be willing to be wrong again. I have been in many processes with a lot of advanced facilitators, and it's always been too easy to identify a limiting belief and then identify with the limiting belief, continuing to talk about it afterwards. Does this sound familiar to you? Have you said, I am divorced, I am broken, I am a deadbeat, I have ADHD, I have a childhood wound, adult trauma, I need to do all that regression therapy? Basically, how many times have you heard yourself say, I am not whole? You want to do more than just label your disempowering statements. You want to do something about them, the statement that you're making. If you do not, then you will just keep believing that it's everyone else's fault and the world is against you. The world is the reason why you're not happy, when it's actually you, yourself. Limiting beliefs are all those negative thoughts and ideas that hold you and me back from achieving all of our goals and relationships, everything. They may be beliefs that you did form in childhood or from cultural conditioning, etc. We've absorbed them over time. They became our messages. Now, whatever their origin, it's important to recognize and then release them in order to move forward. The only thing that stands between you and your happiness is the story that you keep telling yourself why you can't have it. Michael Singer. So you must take some time to reflect on your beliefs and identify any that you're using to limit yourself. Then you want to write them down. Yes, you have to actually write them down so you can challenge them from a safe distance. Ask yourself, are they really true? Is it serving you? And if not, you need to choose to let it go. Next, you need to visualize your actual ideal reality in the same sitting. See, I believe that you should do your work on this process back to back at the same time, because we get many chances in life at different seminars, work with different therapists to write your new story and tell your new story. Or maybe you've been asked and encouraged to write down your old story, but it's extremely rare that we get encouraged to merge the two, because there are many excuses for this. Have you ever said this? I don't want to look at my past. I don't want to write things down. That doesn't work for me. I don't want to live in the past. I've already tried that 1 or 2 times. Now, I always find it very interesting when someone gives me this excuse, because it is almost always when it's a casual conversation that has gone on for 30 minutes, an hour or more, about how they can't get over the wrong that their ex-wife or their ex-husband did to them, or that something happened to them, some tragedy 8, 9, 10 years ago, the deception, the trauma, the abuse, arguing for what is right. So these individuals will talk about it every day to every person they talk to and give updates on it for years. But yet when I suggest writing down this old story of theirs that they keep changing as they tell me their story, I get that pushback. I don't want to go back and relive all that. I have to keep myself from chuckling, because when it's not a client, I have to respect where they're at. But what I want to say is, really, you don't want to relive it by writing it down? But yet I've heard you talking about it at every sitting, every meeting for the last 6 months that I've met you. Yeah, that excuse always gets me a little excited and giggling inside. So yeah, that example really gets to me every single time. Or how about this one? I just can't create a vision, Anthony. I will when this horrible, terrible tragedy that I'm suffering through has passed. I will write my vision down when there is world peace and there is no more war and no hunger. Then I will discover my vision. If you constantly repeat the same old story to anyone who asks about your life, you may not believe it to be true. You aren't going to move forward. So by doing so, you deny yourself the opportunity to find true happiness. You will always be seeking something else to distract you outside of yourself. distracting you from what you already do have. So instead, I encourage you to embrace happiness, live in the moment, allowing yourself to find contentment in the present moment. Your imagination is your creative power. You create the reality that you desire. Neville Goddard. I have many teachings on effective and scientific prayer, but for now, I recommend you looking into Neville Goddard, Dr. Joseph Murphy, Edgar Cayce to learn more. Because visualization is a powerful tool for manifesting what you actually want to create in your life. You can look up stories all over the internet about the power of visualization to learn how it is different than wishful thinking. And it's not spiritual bypassing either. Science and religion have come together. Accessing that power requires you to visualize, pray like an athlete, I like to say. Look, you don't have to try hard at all to find science-backed results and studies of how the brain creates reality based on the influence of your habitual visualizations, your self-talk, your worldview, the voice in your head. So start simple with 5 to 15 minutes a day. Add complexity over time. Build that muscle. Spend time each day visualizing yourself living in your ideal reality with all the vivid concrete details. Close your eyes. Imagine what it would look like and feel like to be living the life of your dreams. Get vivid. Get concrete. See yourself surrounded by the actual people. Name them, the ones that you love. Doing this work that brings you joy. Living in the home of your dreams. Starting that business. Starting that family. Because after you have a basic awareness of the old story controlling your life, and after you now have honestly freed yourself to dream and create your new story in your vision of your future, it's time to add a powerful tool to your conscious creation of your life. It's time to use authentic affirmations, the I am statements. See, we're creating a trifecta in this emerging framework. To change the old story, not only envision your new story, but to make big steps to actualizing your new ideal reality, creating your awakened reality. Now, in my signature program to awaken your reality through the stages of your creator consciousness, there is a step that is exactly speaking your truth that is necessary to keep you ascending. Affirming your story will help you integrate the transformation as you change, because the world around you is going to change as you do this work consistently. It doesn't change after doing it one time. It takes persistent, consistent self-talk change. Then the world changes for you. Okay, now again, I have many trainings on affirmations and mantras, but for now, the intention is for you to make your affirmation believable and unique to your vision, not anybody else's. Other people's affirmations are not as powerful as the one that you create and refine and add to over your experience. Affirmations are those positive statements to help you reprogram your mind and reinforce the positive new beliefs, the new assumptions that you want to adopt as soon as possible. So, start each day by saying affirmations that support your vision of your ideal reality. From the end, you already have it. You're not eventually going to get there. You have right now. Using I am statements such as I am successful, I am powerful, I am worthy, I am loved, and I am fulfilled. As Abraham Hicks says, your work is to create the feeling in yourself even before you have evidence of it. We don't wait to see it. We assume it. We live in it, and it shows up. Now, you can set alarms on your smartphone at vibrate only if you want. I really suggest this. Add the affirmation to the title of your alarm and put it to repeat 3 to 5 times a day. See, this is a simple way to program your affirmation to start becoming a part of your self-talk. Also, post-it notes everywhere is another good suggestion. Then you want to take action to create real change, because all the visualization and positive thinking in the world won't make a difference if you don't take the inspired actions that come next. So I want you to identify the steps that you need to take to create the change that you want to see in your life, breaking those down into smaller, actionable goals that you can work on a little bit each day. Identify the limiting beliefs and replace them with positive ones each and every single moment they arise. Be aware. Visualize your ideal reality every single day, multiple times a day. Use affirmations and I am statements to reprogram your mind. Take action steps toward your goals daily. And remember, as you take action and create positive change in your life, don't be afraid to share your story with others. Just as you were once influenced by your limiting beliefs and patterns, your positive transformation may inspire. In fact, it will inspire others to do the same. They're going to see it, they're going to feel it, and they're going to want to ask you, what are you doing? Now, there's a caveat to this. I want you to share your story. That is part of your affirming. That is part of you speaking and leading your absolute truth. So don't hide it. What I want you to be aware of is don't convince anybody of anything. Don't bring resistance to the conversation. So if someone is inspired by you and asks you what you're doing, you're in charge of what you share. So I encourage you to share what you're comfortable with. If they don't understand, if they start to challenge you, bless them. Love them exactly where they are at unconditionally. It's not your job to use words to teach them what you are actually experiencing that goes beyond words. Because again, Abraham also says this, words don't teach. Only your experience does. Only you know what's working because you are the one persisting in the transformational experience. So yes, share it when someone is ready to receive it, when they are ready to actualize. Go further, share more to those who are open. But if someone is bringing resistance to the conversation, do not lean in. Don't pursue. Don't try to convince them. They're just not where you're at right now. And that is also a blessing. You're still a gift. You're still planting a seed. Don't try to force anyone's transformation with your words. You be the walking, talking, living embodiment of your prayer, your wish fulfilled. In conclusion, as Michael Singer reminds us, the degree to which you can free yourself from the conceptual framework of your limitations, you are no longer limited. So I encourage you to free yourself from those limiting beliefs and patterns. Create your ideal reality and live the life you're meant to live. So let's recap. If you do not properly identify the patterns, the old story, through your life, you will not have the awareness to make aligned choices with your empowered and non-reactive self. When you do not create and recreate your new story, your new vision in your life, you stop having the focus needed to reach past your current reality. You're only going to believe what's already manifested. So create the vision and recreate it and renew it. And if you do not persist in your belief with action, you will eventually have the same pattern repeating itself in your objective reality over and over again. Different people, different places, but the same pattern. Because by embracing this old story, new story framework, you will get results that are repeatable, and you will climb to bigger and better manifestations, and you will be happy along the way towards your goals. Thank you for joining me. Signing off, this is Anthony Sacred Cobra Cortino. Take a look below and subscribe. there are some links to programs for you. There is a link below to my free 40-page downloadable divorce planner that helps you make aligned decisions before, during, and long after your divorce is over. Also, take a look below and find the links to my newsletter, where I put out newsletters and content and podcasts and videos like this 1 to 3 times a week, delivered right to your inbox. And finally, I want you to take a look at the link below if you're ready to jump into a group training program that teaches you to manifest at the speed of thought, affirming more love and prosperity in your life right now, possibly even creating your spiritually aligned business for you and your family. So that's it for now. I'll see you next time. Remember, you are sacred, you are worthy, and you are unconditional. Cheers.